Okay, so Ollo, we're starting our origin stories with you.
Okay. Yeah.
If you, I know we've already done this in the first episode, but if you could go ahead and describe your character briefly for us.
I wish I had the picture open. So how do you want me to describe it? Do you want me to describe like a story or just physical appearance?
Mainly physical appearance. We'll kind of get into the story here.
So Ollo is a turtle. He's a little on the smaller scale for turtles.
Okay.
He is kind of like wider. Not like fatter, but
Yeah.
I guess he's like, I don't know how to describe this.
A little broad.
Wider than like humans would be because he's a turtle. If that makes sense.
I think that's all.
Okay.
Okay.
He's he only wears like robes. That's all he wears. He doesn't like just kind of common clothes. He doesn't have any hair. He's bald. But he does have like scales that are darker than the rest of him.
Yeah.
That kind of look like hair would.
Okay.
How else to describe him? He has like cloth wrapping around him, like to keep his robes kind of tight, so
Okay.
he can like move around. But he doesn't wear any kind of footwear or like glove wear. If that.
All right.
I don't know how else really to describe him.
So, not exactly starting out, but more so continuing your story. We find you on a boat,
Okay.
a cargo ship.
Mhm.
You started out in Blasto, and you've been there how many years of your life?
Probably like 3 years.
Okay,
Yeah, because I went there when I was pretty young.
3 years total,
So
or have you been coming in and out? Are you adding that onto the years?
well, I left the island when I was like 4,
Okay.
and so.
Are you 8?
Yes.
Oh.
I don't know how much backstory we have to do, so it depends.
Okay, I'm gonna say this is definitely not your first time
Okay.
on a cargo ship, so you have been adventuring in and out of Blastow.
By the end of this, by the time the story actually starts, I would like to be 15. So
Okay.
however long.
You are 15.
Okay. Then I was on Blasto for the rest of the
Okay.
time before that.
Okay, so about 11 years.
Yeah.
Not necessarily staying at Blastow. You've definitely helped the people of the town. A few of them know who you are, but for the most part, you stick to the docks. You go in and out helping people. You have been a cabin boy for a little while on a few journeys, but you have enough experience on boats to where they have promoted you based on what they need.
Okay.
And for this boat, for this adventure, you took a year to go west into the ocean, and you traded a bunch of wheat to the dwarven area there, and you're coming back mainly with gold and funding to fuel the currency of the home city that Blastow serves.
Okay.
And you have been a cook and a fisherman on this journey.
Perfect.
You have been below deck, basically preparing all the meals, doing any maintenance that is needed of you, and you are sort of winding down your day. You don't really know how far away Blastow is, but you're definitely on your way back. The cargo is set above deck and below deck, and we find you preparing a meal.
Okay. So definitely part of like a trade ship.
Yeah.
That's what the business is. Okay. What am I preparing? Is it just fish? Is that all
You
we
tell
have?
me.
Okay. Knowing Ollo, it's probably fish because that's
Okay.
all he does. That's his preferred meal.
You're preparing fish for maybe 10 crewmen.
Okay. Can I fillet the fish? Do I need the roll?
If you want, you can go ahead and describe exactly how you prepare this fish. It's very important to me too.
I'm trying to think of. Do we know what fish are in this area? Is it like
Deep sea fish, probably stuff somewhat close to tuna.
okay?
A decent amount of sort of larger fish, but nothing crazy.
Okay, then I'll start filleting the fish, so that I can cook it. And
as you're flaying the fish, the cabin boy will come down.
Okay.
And he said, "The captain told me to help you. What do you need?"
With cooking.
"Yes, they're all very hungry up there."
All right, start scaling the fish. You just grab a
Okay.
knife and you start
He pulls out a little weight.
Okay.
And he starts putting the fish on the scale. Says, these fish are heavier than these fish.
All right. Good.
What next?
That's when I meant scale. I meant like taking the scales off, not weighing the fish.
Oh.
It's okay though. Yeah, you'll learn.
I'm learning every day here. I'll need a knife.
Are there more than one knife?
I figured you have like a row of knives.
I'll like hand him one.
He wouldn't have been able to reach him. He's younger, maybe 6 years old.
6 years old?
Do you know pirates?
We're on a trade ship, not a pirate.
Yeah, I mean, old sailing days, man, orphans and shit.
All right.
So he'll grab the knife and he'll start scaling the fish.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I've heard about people like you. They're not very common.
Nope, not. There's only a few of us every year. So I'm assuming there's like something to cook it with. Is it like a pot or?
You've got sort of semi-dirty pots.
I don't know if ships have fires on them usually, in order to cook things.
Couldn't tell you. Okay, in order to cook things, there would be like sort of a metal area, sort of like a fire pit that you have set.
Mm-hmm.
All the pots aren't exactly the cleanest because this kid has helped you do the dishes, and we wouldn't call him talented at the least.
Okay. If there isn't like a place to cook, you said there is a place to cook?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a fire pit. And there's a tray over it that you can put things on.
I'll start like throwing some of the fillets that I already cut onto the grill.
Oh, hooray, overcooked fish again.
Did you want something else? Other than fish?
I mean, I know we don't have spices, but I've heard they're really good.
Spices? Yeah. We can get some next time. We
can
port.
You can afford spices?
Maybe. I don't know.
I've only heard of them. Sound awfully good. Oh no, my fish is burning. You reach over and it's sort of near the ends, near the embers. You finish preparing this meal. He helps you to the best of his abilities, and as the day winds down, the crew begins to go to sleep. The kid's sort of in the corner near the barrels, and you find your way to your... Do you have a hammock? Do you have palm leaves?
I probably like just curl into my shell.
Okay.
And then sleep in that.
As you finish your meal, you just kind of go down and revert into your form.
Mm-hmm.
And as night consumes you, you begin to dream.
Okay.
You find yourself sort of, as reality begins to meld with the creative little ticks that you've had in your brain, you fall fully asleep and you dream of a grove you're very familiar with.
Okay.
There are very unique trees that sort of scatter this little grove, and there's a decent clearing outside before there's a thick, almost redwood forest. And you're very familiar with all this. You've definitely been here before. And with all the memories that you have, you know this area very well, even if it wasn't all of your time spent here. And you begin to wander. You take time in the grove. Do you want to?
Is it so familiar that I would know, like, if I go into a certain place, like?
It's almost strangely, perfectly familiar.
Okay.
Like, it's lucid to the point where you feel aware of the dream and how real it feels.
Okay. I'd probably go to like where like the home of my parents, and like where they would tell us stories.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you sort of leave this grove area for a brief time, and you visit that area, and you see sort of this little, more or less where logs are stacked. It's not permanent, and it's very inconspicuous. It's almost as if someone were to come here, they would see what an adventurer party might have left for a brief period of time and then been about their way, but you know that this area is used every 50 years at least.
Okay.
And as you wander back to the grove, you see your older sibling, Demu.
Mm-hmm. They're all older. Yeah.
Okay. So you are the youngest, and you see Demu standing near the tree that called to him when you were younger.
Okay. I'll call out to him, like, Damu.
Is that you, Ollo?
Yeah. Are you having the same dream as me right now?
I think I am.
Okay. This is much more than a dream then. Have you seen Kinlick? Or
I haven't seen Kinlick. Where have you been, Ollo?
I've been adventuring a little bit.
And as he
in a
says
town.
your name, in the distance on the tree that called out to you when you were younger, almost in cinders burns into the wood the word Ollo.
Into which tree?
The tree that called out to you, the tree
okay.
that you ate the fruit off of.
Mm-hmm.
And as you had said his name, you now look over and his tree has that word on it. Where have you been adventuring?
It's been in a city called Blastow.
I've heard of it. Very, very far to the west of where I am.
How have you been? It's been a long time.
It's been a rough few days.
A few days? Okay.
Well, it's been a rough life, Ollo. I am in an area called Sorprus. Wait, no, that's a mistake. Oh no, Logan has problems understanding his own world. Let's go to locations. Let's go to this location. He is on an area called Hexter, he'll say. And as he says Hexter, it is also burned into the wood of his tree. He says, I'm searching for an underground cult. It's been a long, rather difficult journey. What have you been up to?
Mostly just been learning how other people live.
And how do
their
they?
stories. Some have very adventurous lives where they fight wars and they try and protect the ones that they love, and some live rather plain lives where they just do the same thing every day, just to survive.
He sort of has a nearly disgusted face and is like, simple lives were never my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And you see into your tree the word curiosity get burned in.
Okay.
And as you two are talking, your gorgeous sister steps into the clearing.
Mm-hmm.
You recognize Kinlick as she steps out. Her rather excessively voluptuous body almost leaves indents in the ground as her beautiful heft moves forward into the area. Her shell is rather, if you want to describe her, that would be fine too.
Okay, let me think. It's hard describing turtles.
Yes, it is.
Because
It's
they're
very
so unfamiliar.
They're very strange.
She okay, so while she is very, very like large,
Okay.
that doesn't mean like she's like obese or
Well,
like
yeah,
overly large.
It's sort of a strength beneath protection,
Yeah.
as turtles would see it at least.
So she has like almost like a circular shell,
Okay.
with like
Very smooth and rounded.
yeah, with
Okay.
deep grooves in it, and she has like she has long braided hair,
Okay.
which is almost strange considering.
Yeah,
that-
neither you nor your brother standing next to you have any sort of hair growing off your body.
Mm-hmm. And it's probably like black hair.
Her hair is black?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, in terms of like her body shape, it's large, but it's not like overly large.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She'll step into the grove sort of confused, and she looks around and she says, something's off here.
Kenlick?
Yeah. She doesn't even really
She'll
acknowledge.
acknowledge that.
No. This doesn't feel right.
Kenlick, I think it's the new sphere. I think we're connecting somehow.
Are you a part of my dream?
Nope, we're all
And
here.
you see her name burned into her tree.
We're all here. Come to your tree.
Oh no, I think we're and she'll reach down and sort of touch the earth below her, and the grass does actually move around her fingers, and she says, I think we're actually here.
Oh, okay. You think we're actually back home?
This feels too real. And,
Can I like touch my tree and see? Can I actually feel it?
you can feel it.
If I touch like the words, do I feel like even the groove?
They are actually
Okay.
burned down.
I think you might be right.
How have you been?
Pretty good.
Hello,
Can't-
Demu.
can't-
And he's like, my name's not Demu anymore. It's Seethk. And you see that put below the name Demu on his tree. She says, you changed your name. I want to do that too. This is difficult. I'll go with Schlop.
Okay.
And that is burned below her name.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I can feel it.
I'll like clap and be like, those are great names, guys. I'll get to that point one day.
She smiles at you, and as she approaches closer, she'll hug you and rather uncomfortably hug Seethk now. She says, where have you both been? And I figure you'll
blast
recite
out
the same thing.
Mhm.
Oh, I know where that is. I'm actually not far from there. I've been traveling a bit to the north, in the same area. I forget what it's called. I've been calling it land,
Okay.
but it's very cold where I am.
Mm-hmm. Northland.
It's much warmer here, north to the Northland. Yes. And you see,
Have anything interesting happened?
you see, actually, into her tree, it will say Northern Aramul burned in.
Arwul.
Aramul.
Arwul.
I've just been traveling. Nothing interesting has happened for a little while other than this. Where's Lop?
I don't know.
And
This is the first time I've seen all of you in almost a decade.
yeah, a very long time. And Seethk will sort of look around and he says, I haven't seen Lop either. I feel like he should be here.
I'm sure he's coming.
This is.
This is too big of a coincidence for us not all to be here.
But why are we here?
I don't know.
And he'll sort of look around and look at the burnings on the trees and he says, do you see that too?
The burning on the trees?
Yes.
Yes.
Something is not right here. And then on Lop's tree, which is almost centered in the area that you're at, you see a whole book's worth of words burn in embers, and the tree goes up almost in flames.
Okay.
And you see almost all the information, every single name he's had, every location he's been to, all the people he's met.
Mm-hmm.
And then the words on your trees sort of fade away, and you hear a voice almost echo over the entire grove, and it says, thank you for the information. And you wake up.
Oh man. Okay.
You wake up in a very different setting.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a calm boat that you went to sleep in. There's actually a lot of commotion going on.
Okay.
There are people running around. You hear stuff sliding over the boards, and it's a lot more wet and damp. And you think that you've woken up in the middle of the storm. You hear voices shouting and screaming above deck, and the little kid runs downstairs and he's like, they need you up deck, they need... Shit's going down! And he runs back up.
I'll start right now.
Okay. You run up into a raging storm. The sky is completely black. It's still in the middle of the night. Clouds are rolling through the sky, and there is just a hail of rain going down on the boat. The ocean is just almost in flames with how furious it is. You see almost pillars and towers of water crashing and moving around in almost random directions. And I would like you to roll initiative.
All right.
The captain begins shouting orders at different crew members. If you could do some sort of dramatic music.
I'm trying.
Okay.
I got a 15 for
A
initiative.
15?
Mhm.
Okay. He'll shout at everyone. He'll scream that they need to shorten the jib, that they need to pull down the mainsail.
Okay.
And you're sort of in the middle of this commotion. You see a couple of crewsmen run over and begin to drastically shorten that the jib, the back sail, so that the ship is more so at the mercy of the ocean and less of the wind.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you are above deck, you need something to do. There's
Okay.
a lot going on and a lot at stake here.
Has anyone started lowering the mainsail?
The mainsail is still up.
Okay. So I'm assuming that one's the
That's
mainsail?
the mainsail,
Okay.
yes. You see the ropes all tied down. It's actually rather tight. It is absolutely, what was the word you used?
Luffing?
Luffing, yes.
Mm.
It's being battered around by the wind, and it is pushing you in random directions. You are at the mercy of both the wind and the waves right now.
Okay. Can I, in turn order, can I go?
Yes,
Okay.
it's your turn.
So I'll grab what they call the halyard, which
Okay.
is what like raises and lowers the sail,
Okay.
and I'll start like reeling that in so that the mainsail.
If you want to
moves
make
down.
an athletics check.
All right. 21.
21? Okay. With incredible might, I figure it's a rope, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you start pulling at this rope, and the mainsail begins to lower and lower, and the boat is not more calm, but it doesn't feel like it's going to be torn apart in
Okay.
tandem with the wind and with the ocean.
Yeah.
And as you tie down the mainsail, you see a few other men sort of start to run down, and some of them grab the cargo. Others are running around frantically. They don't know what to do, and they can't hear the captain because the storm is so screechingly loud. And as the ocean slams into the side of the boat, two men fly overboard and are at the mercy of the waves. Top of the round again. The captain will step down from the area, and he will go down and he'll begin shouting more commands, and you gain a 1d6 to your next roll.
All right.
As he's shouting at everyone, just like, save the cargo, tie yourselves down, batten the hatches. He needs everything done, and he needs it done right now.
Okay.
And it'll be your turn again.
Is there any rope on the deck that is just like not?
Yeah,
attached
around
to-
the two mainsails, the
Mhm.
jib and what's the mainsail called?
It's called the mainsail.
Perfect. Okay. There is sort of a ring, like a wooden wheel, that has ropes tied down, and they're all coiled up.
Okay. Or can I still see the people that went off board?
No.
Okay.
Looks like they've been consumed by the ocean,
All right.
or are very far away from you now.
All right. I'll grab a piece of rope
Okay.
and then try and like tie down some of the cargo because I think there's
Okay.
the barrels.
Yeah, the barrels.
Yeah.
Okay. So you run over
Mhm.
and begin to tie down the barrels. If you'd like to make an acrobatics or a sleight of hand check.
Okay. I'll go for sleight of hand.
Okay. Again, add a d6 to that roll because the captain is very persuasive. Is that a natural one?
Yes.
Okay.
So +4.
Okay. So you run over to the cargo and you begin to tie this rope around the two barrels that you have. They are full of precious metal, and the other one probably has a lot of food rations, maybe some potatoes.
Mhm.
You don't have any spices on the ship, but as you begin to do that, a giant wave crashes into the side of the ship and sends the rope and both of the barrels you were working on into the ocean.
All right. Where does the wave come from? Just for my sake.
The
this
far,
side?
yeah, over
Okay.
there. Sorry, I have one of those over there.
Mhm. Okay.
Slams into the side of the boat. Top of the round again. The ocean will batter the ship again. I need you to make an athletics check or a strength save, rather.
Strength save?
Yes.
Okay. 9.
A 9. Okay. A wave now crashes into the other side of the ship, slamming into the edge, and you fall and are able to grab the wheel, but you slide across the edge of the boat, and you lose more sailors as they fly off the edge. This man has tied himself down. This kid has actually battened one of the hatches and is staying below deck because he knows he will die very quickly if he comes back up.
Okay.
And the captain is actually in front of the captain's quarters holding onto an open door.
Okay. What does batten the hatches mean? Can I ask that?
It basically means you cover up the hatches so that when a wave does crash over the boat, it doesn't flood the inside.
Okay. Is it my turn?
It is now your turn. The captain is sputtering. His mouth is full of water.
And he's like holding open the hatch?
He grabbed onto the door of the captain's quarters just to hold on, and it flew it open.
Okay. I'm gonna go to batten down the other hatch.
Okay. So you head over to batten this hatch.
Mm-hmm.
I will need you to make whatever check you feel fits.
For battening it down?
Yes.
What do you normally cover it with? Just other pieces of wood, or?
I'll say that this particular boat does have a grate that you can slide over it, which doesn't really help, but it also has a wooden board that you can throw down and then clamp over with pythons.
Okay, we'll just do athletics then.
Okay.
I got a 15.
Okay. You hoist this thing over, and just as a wave crashes down, you hold down the wood, and the wave sort of flows over the edge of the boat, and off the other side it bleeds out back into itself.
Okay.
And you nail the pythons in, and the hatch is closed. And at the top of the round, the captain is sputtering for breath. A few of the helmsmen have now gone below deck and are just going to wait out the storm. And as you are above, holding down this hatch, you see something come out of the water. And you see this giant sort of arcing tentacle.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the size of a middle-aged tree. And you see another one, and they begin to spew out of the ground like worms on a rainy day.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them begin to grasp the ship, and one of them reaches for you. If you would like to make an acrobatics check.
All right. Another natural one.
Natural one. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. It grabs you and wraps everything around you. It begins to tighten, and you're afraid your shell might crack under this pressure, and you take 1 damage.
All right.
Just a bludgeoning, and it raises you maybe 30 feet above the ship, and you see now further out into the water not only tentacles, but like sickly arms the size of much larger trees begin to arc out of the water. There has to be at least 50 of them that you can see. Just this massive amount of life coming from the ocean, and lightning arcs through the clouds and briefly brightens the distance of the sky. You see almost on the horizon several figures the size of skyscrapers watching your boat, and they don't move, and you can't see exactly how far out they are under this single lightning flash. And as you feel as though your life is about to end, you feel a burst of pure mystic energy. Sort of like when you approached your tree for the first time, you felt it as if it was calling you. Now, the feeling that you felt back then is dwarfed by what you feel now.
Okay.
It nearly drives you insane, the amount of sheer power that fills your brain, and possibly even more of the situation around you. And it forces you into a daze. You open your eyes again, and instead of being on the boat, held 30 feet in the air by this tentacle, you are at the end of the dock, back in Blastow. You are standing there, and you look down and you realize that you can't see any of your body. And the only thing sitting on the end of Oak Sword, which is a 3-mile long dock, the largest in the world, definitely, which is what Blastow is known for. And at the very end of this, you see your mentor, Old Man Yant.
Okay.
He is sitting there with his blindfold in tattered rags, and he's sitting there smiling. You look around, it is still night, and you see rolling clouds in the distance, and he begins to move his hands in sort of strange, possibly arcane motions, and you see the clouds in the distance begin to fade. And he says, Ollo, is that you?
Yes. What just happened? Did you pull me here?
Well, you are here and you are not here.
Okay.
I guess the same can be said for many of us. But when you do get here,
It's very wise.
when you physically arrive in this area, I need to talk to you. There's something that is about to happen, something very drastic that I myself cannot take care of. I believe you will be returning in about, let's say, 3 shakes of a lamb's tail.
Okay. Does that mean I'm gonna even live? What is
What?
what is a lamb's tail, and what does shaking a lamb's tail have to do with time?
What does anything have to do with time, Ollo?
Yeah. Okay. I'll get here as soon as I can.
The answer is clocks.
I'm gonna try not to die right now.
Oh no, I already fixed that.
Oh, okay.
Just, you'll know. And as this energy begins to fall from your brain and it fades, and you are back on the ship. It is still nighttime, and there is still water soaking the boards of this ship. Everything is battened down. All the sails are closed, but the ocean is calm.
Okay. Is the captain on?
The captain is not there, but his quarter door is shut.
Okay.
You see a little light sort of in his quarters.
I'll go knock on his door if I can.
Come in.
Okay, I'll walk in.
And you see he has a rather ornate bottle of whiskey, and it's almost half empty, and he's sitting there with a glass staring at the map. He's like, what the hell just happened?
I don't know. It's like some
He
monster.
throws it back.
Did we lose a lot?
We lost enough to lose my ship,
Oh, okay.
but I think at least a story, something like that, will get me a couple drinks at a bar after I sell my boat.
We're gonna have to sell the boat.
I still have to pay you.
I mean, I got fish.
Oh, well, how many crewsmen went overboard? Any
Like
board
5.
crewsmen? I might keep my boat.
That's good to hear, because
Yeah.
I need to get to Blastoff.
Well, that's where we're headed.
Okay,
I
great.
think. I hope. We're either headed to Blastow or Eden at this point.
Both of those sound nice.
Yes, they do. A lot better than what just happened. And he throws back the full glass that he just poured.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get some sleep. And he just face plants on the desk.
All right.
You see his candle is still light and flickering. Sea is calm. You think everyone's below deck.
Yeah.
A few of them might have seen what happened, but you don't know how many. But you do understand that really happened.
Yeah.
Either that or both you and the captain are very delirious.
Yeah. After watching the captain pass
Okay.
out, I'll probably just like kind of like take a deep breath and then walk back out onto
Okay.
the ship deck. And is there like a helmsman at the wheel, or is everyone just kind of?
It looks like they were at the mercy of the ocean not moments ago, so everything is still set down. You're probably adrift right now.
Okay.
There's no one above deck. Everyone is below deck, and you hear a little knock on the area that you pythoned down.
Mm-hmm.
Is it safe to come up yet?
Yeah, I'll start taking it off.
Okay. You swing it open, and you see the faces of everyone left sort of staring up out into the sky, and the kid goes, "The clouds are gone."
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Are we live?
Yeah, we are alive. We are
Oh.
alive.
He reaches out and touches one of the crewmen, and he's like, "Don't fucking touch me."
You guys missed out on the worst part of the storm.
He was like, "Well, you're probably right."
Yeah.
And a couple of them sort of go over, and one of them comes up above board, and he's like, "Where's the captain?
He's down for the night.
Do we have the anchor down?"
I hope not. Can I check?
The anchor is not down.
Okay.
Well, now we're lost. And he'll go over and he'll pull the latch, and the anchor drops.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you said the captain's fully down for the night.
Yeah.
He'll go in and open the captain's quarters, and after a moment he walks out with that ornate bottle that is now half empty. Like, I think I'll do the same. And he goes below deck.
Okay. I just put my focus, my focus into pneumatic mine to gain a proficiency with the skill.
What proficiency do you pick?
I would like to pick navigator's tools.
That is fantastic. You know that you saw some sort of on the back desk, the work desk of the captain's quarters.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want, you can either try to figure out where you are right now or wait until morning.
Yeah, I'll start right now.
Okay.
It's probably like meditating. Like I meditate for a quick second just to like kind of get the knowledge of
focus your understanding. You feel as though the people, the crew on the ship, their knowledge sort of bleeds in and fuels your connection to the noosphere, even though they have none. You feel as though their knowledge is briefly given to you.
Okay.
And you thank the Archons that the sky is clear, so you can see you can see where the stars are, and in the sky you're familiar that your brother planet, the giant celestial body that hangs very closely to you, it's near the middle of the year, so it's almost at its furthest, but you can see which stars it's blotting out and sort of understand at least what time of day it is, or what time of night, and the general idea of where you are based on the stars that you can see.
Okay. So I know where we're at and everything?
Yeah.
But everyone's asleep.
Make a navigation check. I'm not exactly sure how those go.
That's what I was going to look up right now.
I believe it is an
Xanathar's...
intelligence check with proficiency.
Oh, okay. Xanathar's did like tools and everything. So
Oh yeah, they did. I don't have access to that right now.
Sorry, hold on. I'm looking at navigator's tools.
So you're sort of in the captain's quarters. He's fast asleep. You bring the candle over as it's still lit and set it next to where you are. You hear a bit.
Just gonna let you know. There are 2 DC checks for navigator's tools. One's to discover your position on a nautical chart.
Okay.
And then the other is to plot a course.
It's definitely. Oh well, you'll have to do the first one.
To plot a course? Or no, to discover.
You'll have to know where you are in order to plot a course.
That one's a DC 15, just letting you know.
Okay.
And I'm assuming it's a survival check.
Okay. I'll say because of the location of your brother planet in the sky, it's going to be just a little bit easier because you're familiar with the annual cycle of how that goes.
I got a 14.
You're very lucky. You understand the general position of where you are. You're not too far off course. The anchor definitely helps, so you think you'll stay here until morning when the crew is ready to set sail again.
Okay.
And you think you understand at the very least where you are.
Okay. I'll go back to bed then.
Okay.
Since everyone's asleep.
You go back to sleep. You have simple, normal, for once, dreams, and you wake up. The captain plots a course because he sees where you've marked on the map where you are. And after the better half of a day, you think the sun is setting again, and on the horizon you see the large rock that juts out of sort of ground in front of Blastow, and you realize that you're very close. And sort of as the world wraps around, you see now the oak sword as it reaches out almost to greet you.
Okay.
And the boat docks. Most of the sailors run into the bird to tell their stories and get drinks, which takes a really long time because you docked maybe in the center of Oak Swords. So what's that? That's like a 20-minute walk.
Yeah. Are there not like, well, it's your world. I was gonna say, are there not like shops along the dock?
There are shops,
like a pier
but
almost.
Everybody's favorite tavern is the Bird.
Oh, okay.
And
the Bird is the word.
The Bird is the word. The buildings that grip the oak sword sort of have been built around it like a hand if you were to look at it from a map.
Okay.
And the Bird is the center finger tavern.
All right.
It's the place for sailors like them to be. So they run down the dock, and again you feel a very faint mystic energy.
Okay. Can I follow the mystic energy or look for Yant?
You figure that he's probably still sitting at the end.
Yeah. That's
he
what I was
very
thinking.
rarely makes full rounds up and down, and you've seen some people ask him why he moves or why he sits there. He gives them a different answer every time, and it never makes sense. Like, I'm running from the sun in the early morning, and then so you'll walk down there. It takes you maybe 10 minutes, and give me just a second. And as you reach the end of Oak Sword, you see this tattered figure with a thick blindfold around his eyes again, and he's sitting there. His hands are now sort of crossed together. He's not moving them. And he sits.
Yant.
Yes? Yeah, what?
Yant!
Yeah!
Oh, okay. You're awake.
That was loud.
Yeah. Hey, so
What?
what'd you want?
I don't know.
You said you needed my
Lemon
help.
meringue pie.
Look. Okay.
Oh, what did I
Yeah.
want earlier? Yeah.
You needed my help.
No, I really want pie.
Okay, we'll get that after.
That is your new task.
Do you even
As a
eat?
pupil of mine,
Do you eat?
I eat pie.
Okay.
So my warning, yes. Something that was said to me. Oh. Yes. Okay. Let me get in the mindset of. Good morning.
Morning.
Okay. So I have something to tell you. It is a prophecy.
Okay.
Perhaps it is ancient. Perhaps it was whispered to me by a child of the age of 2 the other morning. But, as I have stated many times before, we all have winding paths. They're like rivers that bridge and split into different causalities. But right now, Ollo, I only see one for you. I see later this day, you will be talking to a man who sells simple supplies, and you will be talking to him about a bear. No, a man in a bear costume.
Okay. What's a costume?
A dead bear.
Okay.
But there is something else. There's something much worse. There is a man who will fall from the sky, and he carries with him a burden heavier than any mountain. And Ollo, you will find him, and he will share this burden with you and all those you travel with. Are you prepared?
No, that sounds pretty bad.
Yes, it's pretty terrible.
I travel kind of light.
What?
I don't want a heavy burden.
Well, you should see the one I've got.
I don't want to see that.
You
Anyways,
don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
So this simple man,
Yes.
would he happen to be selling lemon meringue pie?
You see, perhaps the saddest thing I will say in my lifetime, Ollo, and you see a tear sort of well down below his tattered eye covering. He says, "The man you will speak to does not sell any pie."
Okay. I'll probably also like shed a tear.
And he finishes speaking to you.
Okay. Is that all you need?
That is the end of the game.
Oh, that's the end of the.
That's the end.
Oh, okay. That was much quicker than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, they're not very long.